Ladies and gentlemen, today I am going to talk about the cost difference between the 2020 C8 Corvette and my 2015 C7 Z06. And welcome back to Brink of Speed. My name is Mike, and today we are going to talk about the difference and how much more my C8 Corvette cost than my C7 Z06. This is a video that I've had requested because, you know, people really want to know how much I spent on my C8 and how much I spent on my Z06, because obviously there is a pretty large difference in a few areas when you're talking about a Z06 model of a Corvette and a base model. Granted, it is a Z51 Stingray, but still a base model Stingray. And so I want to talk about those differences, and I have quite a few things that I want to go over with you guys so that you'll understand why my C8 still costs more than my Z06. Obviously, the number one reason is because my C8 was brand new and my Z06 was used. But other than that, I still had to purchase both of them. My Z06 was almost brand new. It only had 3,400 miles on it, but it definitely cost a little bit less than this C8. So before I jump into how much the cost was of each car and the difference, I want to talk about some of the differences with the two cars. And the first thing that I want to discuss is the actual body. So when we take a look at the C8 body, I'm going to walk around here so that you can get a front view of that body. You're going to notice that it is a wide car. And the reason why they made the C8 so wide is because they really wanted to start off with a car that you could take to the track and it would perform exceptionally well. So they gave it a wide stance right off the bat. Normally, the base model Corvette is a narrower car than the Z06 or the Grand Sport or the ZR1. And it's probably going to be that way with this model as well. So that is the first similarity between these two cars. The C7 Z06 was a wide body because it's a track car. This is also pretty much a wide body because it is a track-focused car. Now, you don't have to get Z51 to get that body. It doesn't change that look at all as far as how wide it is from fender to fender. Now, you do get some extras, you know, with the Z51 package, and I'll go over those in a minute, but as far as just the normal body of the car, you're getting a wide body with the normal Stingray. Now we're going to go ahead and pop the trunk here for the next thing that we're going to talk about. And as you can see, I've got the roof inside here so that we can look inside the car easily. But this engine, it is a 6.2 liter V8 naturally aspirated. And the major difference between the 6.2 liter that's in this car and the 6.2 liter that was in my C7 Z06 is that this is naturally aspirated. My C7 Z06 was supercharged. It was forced induction. And this puts out 495 horsepower and 470 foot-pounds of torque, whereas my C7 Z06 put out 650 horsepower and 650 torque. So the C7 Z06 had 155 more horsepower than the base model C8 Corvette. That is another difference between the two cars. Now, as you can see, this interior is absolutely gorgeous. And as I've pointed out in multiple videos, the surfaces that you get with the 2LT package are phenomenal. The leather feels great, but the surfaces on my 2015 C7 Z06 were just as nice in some areas, but nicer in my opinion in other areas, because it was a 3LZ, so it was a higher level than this C8 Corvette. It was the top of the line 3LZ with suede everywhere. So the A-pillars had suede, the actual roof was supposed to have suede, the B-pillars had suede, and all along here underneath was suede. And if I were to get the 3LT version of this, it would also have suede, and it would give me the choice of actually doing two-tone seats. But as you can see, I did not have that choice, and my seats are all red, which I am perfectly okay with. Now, another feature that the C7 Z06 had on it was the Z07 package. The Z07 package basically turned that car into a full-on race car. It had big, huge carbon ceramic brakes, and it had a stiffer suspension than just the regular Z06 without the Z07 package. It had massive, massive carbon ceramic brakes that had an incredible bite, and it got rid of a lot of the brake dust. Obviously, this C8 has regular steel brakes with a ton, and when I say a ton of brake dust, I mean a ton of brake dust. But they still are massive calipers on the front and the rear, so I'm happy with that. So as you can see, that is a major difference. Now, the Z51 package on this does give me amazing brakes. It also gives me a tighter suspension. So it's kind of like having a Z07 package on my C8 Corvette. I feel like this exhaust sounds phenomenal. However, it is an exhaust that I will definitely be upgrading. Whereas on my C7 Z06, I never ever even thought about upgrading the exhaust. It sounded so phenomenal, and you guys saw my video on that. There was no need to upgrade that exhaust. So I will be doing that on this car, but that's another difference between the two cars. Now, as you know, this car comes with an 8-speed dual clutch transmission, and I absolutely love the transmission. Whereas my C7 Z06 came with a torque converter automatic 8-speed. And don't get me wrong, it was phenomenal. It shifted super fast, but it was a little bit clunky in the first few gears. This one feels smooth in every gear. And what people say about this when they're riding in it is that you can't even feel the gears shifting, you can only hear the gears shifting. And that is truly the case, unless you're on it. If you're on it big time, you can definitely feel them shifting, but still, it's not the same as if, you know, I was in my C7 Z06. And that definitely does affect cost. By the way, while I'm doing this video, if you have any thoughts or comments, leave them down in the comment section below. Even before the video is over, I'd love to hear from you about what you're seeing in this video. You know, what other information you'd like to know. So next, let's talk about my launch control in this brand new C8 Corvette. The launch control is phenomenal. It is like that of a typical supercar. I have been in a few supercars, felt launch control, and it's always precise. It always keeps the wheel spin to a minimal, which is exactly what this car does. But my C7 Z06 did not do that. My C7 Z06 actually allowed an enormous amount of tire spin, and that's why I never used it. I used it in the very beginning, but it just didn't work. My car would even slide sideways with launch control. So I very quickly learned that about the car and decided to just basically do launches myself, regulate the gas pedal, and you know, I've done that for a long time anyways with manual transmissions, and so I learned how to do it with the automatic. But that was a major difference, and that also changes price point in a car when you have to put a higher technology into a car to get the launch control to work properly. You've heard me complain about this quite a few times in my C7 Z06. The resolution in the PDR and the backup camera, for that matter, were terrible. The resolution in both of these cameras and the rear view mirror camera is crisp, high definition 1080p resolution. And so that also is another price difference and expense that GM put into the C8. Now, again, obviously, if I would have bought that C7 Z06 brand new, it would have been substantially more than this. But then again, we're not comparing apples to apples as far as the model of the Corvette goes. So these are a few things that I wanted to go over with you guys and gals to just give you a comparison of the two cars, let you know the differences in each car, and then give you the final price of each car. So in 2018, I bought my 2015 C7 Z06. So it was 3 years old, and it had 3,400 miles on it, and it was loaded to the max. The only thing that it was missing was carbon fiber on the outside of the car. It had the carbon fiber on the inside, and it was missing competition seats. Other than that, it was fully loaded. The original sticker on that car was $103,000 and change. But I was able to buy it from Corvette World for $73,000 and change, which is amazing. That was a $30,000 discount from 3 years after that car was built. Now, moving on to the C8 that I just purchased back in March. This car, brand spanking new, no markup on the MSRP because Classic Chevrolet does not believe in marking any cars up. I paid $76,300 for this car. $76,300. So let me tell you what that $76,300 gets you. It gets you 2LT, front end lift. It gets you Z51 package. It gets you the red painted calipers, the carbon flash mirrors, and the carbon flash rear spoiler. And the Z51 package all by itself, number one, you get the upgraded exhaust. Number two, you get an upgraded limited slip differential. Number 3, you get different gearing. Number 4, you get the better brakes. Number 5, you get the front splitter. And number 6, you actually get that rear spoiler. So that's what the Z51 package gives you on the new C8. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention about my 3LZ Z06 is that because it was a 2015, it did not even come with the front cameras because they hadn't put front cameras in any of the Corvettes yet. So the next year in 2016 is when those front cameras came into play if you got a 2LZ or 3LZ, or in a regular Stingray or Grand Sport, a 2LT or 3LT. So being that this is a 2LT, I have front cameras. And those front cameras are gorgeous. It's 1080p and I can see perfectly. So if you do the math, it's about a $3,000 difference between what I paid for my 2015 C7 Z06, Z07 package and 3LZ than my Z51 2020 C8 Corvette with a 2LT package and a front end lift. So that's really gonna wrap things up. I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, not only give me a big thumbs up, but leave a comment below letting me know what you think, if you enjoyed this information, and if you have more information that you'd like to hear about the differences between the two cars. Again, if you have not checked out the Brink of Speed store, everything is linked in the description below, and everything is going to be linked in the first comment that I pin below the video. Other than that, I hope each and every one of you has a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you out on the road.